look at the document, don't say anything. Okay? Have you had an opportunity to
adjust up or down, it doesn't move back and forth.
Yeah, I just
All right,
realized.
so if you could scoot up close to the microphone. All right, you ready to proceed, sir? Counsel, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They got the
Good
child
morning,
mic
Mr.
up
Glass.
high, right?
Good morning.
And I know you're quite soft-spoken, so I'm going to need you to speak out a little louder, okay? And remember, you have to make oral responses, okay?
Yes,
How old are you?
23,
And where are you currently living? What city?
Real Beach,
And have you lived there all your life?
majority of it.
Okay. You completed high school, or what was the last grade you completed?
11.
Right? You're not married, correct?
Excuse me?
You're not married?
No.
So I'm going to talk about some prior stuff before we get into why you're here today. Have you previously been convicted of a felony? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And how many times?
What the fuck is this?
By the way. I gotta give out some church announcements real quick because it's happening right now. The tickets for our first show, it's actually available right now. So if anyone wanted to come to the first Chat Niggas show, which we have it on September 10th, please. I'm about to go to it. Not available. You guys could.
I'm going to ask you to just look at the document, don't say anything. Okay? Have you had an opportunity to review the document? You have to answer.
Yes.
Right? Is your memory fresh as to how many convictions you have?
2. What was that one? The other one? I'm not sure. Let's see, 2 charges.
All right. Now, you currently have some pending charges in Indian River County, correct?
Yeah.
And those are 2 charges:
Yeah.
misdemeanor resisting without violence
Yeah.
and in obstruction of service or execution of a search warrant.
Yeah.
Are those misdemeanors or felonies?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you know what the penalty you're facing on those charges?
No.
Okay. Have you been offered probation in that case?
Yeah.
And have you been made any promises in exchange for your testimony here today?
No.
Right? So let's go back to October 26th of 2018. What were you doing like for work?
I wasn't working at all.
All right. Were you involved in the music business at all?
Kind of, sort of.
And how so?
Making beats.
All right. And
Why the
when
fuck
you
they
were
got
making
this
beats,
screen
were you
in front of
working
his
with
face?
A specific group or music group or people?
I need to see
One
this black
person in
bitch.
particular, but yeah.
Okay.
Supposed to be in a group.
All right. Let's start by saying this. What group was it?
We up here telling.
All right. And when you said one person specifically, who was that person?
That's why the screen in front of his face.
Okay. And can you tell the members of the jury?
Oh, okay.
Full name?
Oh no, I don't know this nigga.
Right?
I've never seen him before.
No one by.
Judge, I'm sorry.
The label marking 18-3118.
I do.
I'm just one of the niggas that was out there
At the Melly.
when they got in the car. Tell him.
So, back on October 26, 2018, do you recall being at the New Era studio?
Yeah.
Who were you there with?
Few other people.
Okay. Was Juby and Sack there?
Correct.
All right. And do you recall around what time you guys got to the studio?
I'm not sure when we arrived.
Okay.
I don't.
Was it light or dark outside?
I believe it was dark. I'm not sure.
All right. And what was the intention going to the studio?
I believe we were supposed to have a 12-hour session.
All right. And that's a 12-hour recording session, right?
Yeah.
And who was the artist that was recording that night?
Really, everybody was artists. And
All right. Did you guys end up staying for 12 hours?
Nah.
Okay. What changed and why didn't you end up staying?
To the best of my knowledge, people was sleeping, so we ended up going home because, sleep in the studio.
All right. And part of that is because studio time is obviously, it's costly, right?
Objection to leave.
Stay.
Okay, you just said it was paid for. What was paid for?
Studio time.
All right. So you guys had prepaid for 12 hours.
Correct.
And obviously not utilizing that 12 hours, is that a waste?
Objection, Your Honor.
Stay.
The leading.
I'll move on. How long, well, you said that people were sleeping. Who was sleeping?
Everybody but me, Anthony, and Chris.
All right. So who was upset that people were sleeping?
Objection, leading.
Who was upset overall?
There was no testimony that anybody was upset.
Okay, rephrase your question.
Was someone upset that people were sleeping?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
And who was that person?
Sad.
Okay. And how did Zach respond? How did Zach respond to people sleeping?
So kill the nigga though?
We woke him up and let him know it's time to go.
All right. And how did he do
This shit
that?
just don't make no fucking sense to me.
Yeah, he went and woke him up, shook him up.
All right. Was there an occasion where he threw water on some people to wake them up?
Objection, Your Honor.
Stay.
Your Honor, this is deliberate. Can we go
Excuse me.
sidebar, please?
Counsel, if you make an objection, make an objection. Don't be arguing in front of the jury. I told you that before,
I
all right?
understand. Can we go sidebar?
No speaking objections.
Can
Come
we go
sidebar, sure.
Thank you.
Got on his head, didn't he?
It's tight. Again, to give you out of context, this is a guy who's close to one of the guys who
This shit
known the guy
funny,
for
bro.
10 years. I would imagine he knew
This
the
shit
guy.
ain't even like real court.
Now,
It's
why
like
is he testifying? By the way, this is the first actual.
Black jacket.
And
this shit
Zach,
like it's fake or something. Tyler Perry made this.
Mr. Glass, can you see that photo on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. And who's that person?
The best of my knowledge, Melly.
Okay. And the person I'm referring to, what is he wearing?
A jacket.
All right. Do you recognize the person on the other side of the photograph wearing what appears to be a black shirt?
I'm sort of.
If you do.
This nigga snitching but don't want to snitch everything they ask me.
Okay,
Talking about
so
kinda
there's
sorta.
number
Nigga,
two.
you might well say yeah now. You already up there. He trying to dry. He trying to dry snitch.
Three of them, yeah.
Okay, so what you can do is identify them by the clothing that they're wearing.
Jewelry, black jacket in the left, sack in the middle, jean jacket, Tay, black jacket.
And Zach, is he standing or sitting?
See,
And Tay, is he standing or sitting?
sit,
And you said Portland was wearing the black jacket. Is he standing or sitting?
ooh,
Oh, how did you refer to him? My apologies.
Tay,
No.
or Julie.
The person wearing the black jacket, who did you identify that as?
Julie wearing black jacket. Also, is Tay wearing black jacket.
The person wearing the black jacket who's standing up, do you recognize that individual?
Chris,
Okay.
This nigga saying all different type of names. Chris.
Do you recognize the people in photograph image 3?
He called him street name, his real name, his last name.
And who's that person? The 3 images that were just shown from State 72, do you recall when those photographs were taken?
same night,
Would that be, what date would that be?
10/26.
Of 2018?
Yeah,
What location were those photographs taken in?
New Era Promotions studio.
Was that the studio we just discussed that you guys were hanging out at?
Yeah,
I'm now publishing state 7.
Nigga is up there
Publishing
snitching, and I can just tell he's shamed.
10/26/2018, beginning at timestamp 2/17/42. Mr. Glass, you recognize the two individuals in this screen pause at 2/17/47.
Kind of, sort of.
Do I recognize the back of their head?
Yes, you recognize them.
See, this nigga playing, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna continue to play.
This thing is up here
Just
playing with
because you
these
guys were
folks.
meeting at it.
He said, "Do I recognize the back of their
I'm now
head?"
publishing state
He
7.
up here playing, bro. I told you he's snitching, but he don't want to snitch. He don't want to. But there ain't no telling what they told him. We're gonna lock your ass up. We're gonna cut your dreads.
Publishing 10/26/2018, beginning at timestamp 2/17/42. Mr. Glass, you recognize the two individuals in this
They already had the back of their
screen
head.
pause at 2/17/47.
Do I recognize the back of their head?
Yes, you recognize them.
Boy, this nigga's dumb, boy.
Okay, I'm going to continue to play.
He done fucked me up with that one. Do I recognize the back of their head?
Do you recognize anyone at timestamp 2/17/52?
Still back of their head.
Do you see an individual standing next to a red vehicle?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, you just said that's who?
Cool.
All right. And what is Kobe's real name?
That's what I know about Cool.
All right. Would anything refresh your recollection as to his legal name?
I don't know.
If I were to show you your prior statement, would that refresh your recollection?
Oh, he done already wrote a statement. Oh, he done fucked up.
Permission to approach the witness?
Hey,
He should have ran. He should have ran away like everybody else did.
Mr. Glass, if you could take a moment and look at this
I'd have
page,
ran away.
read it to yourself, do not read aloud, and look up when you're done. Has your memory been refreshed as to the legal name of Kobe?
Yeah.
And what is Kobe's legal name?
Objection.
what's the objection?
Sorry, Your Honor, I was wrong.
Jacoby Mills.
Okay.
Jacoby
And if you could repeat the last name for the court provisional.
Mills.
All right, I'm going to continue to publish date 7. There is a second individual at the red Mitsubishi vehicle. Do you recognize that second individual?
Not really, no.
Okay. How about the individual that is standing at the gray Jeep?
That's sad.
Okay. I'm going to continue to publish. I'm pausing at timestamp 2/18/21. Do you see that individual who's walking away from the Mitsubishi Jeep.
I see him here.
Do you recognize him? Continuing to publish. I'm pausing the video at 2:18:41. Do you see that individual carrying something across his shoulder, wearing what appears to be a blue jacket?
Say it again.
Do you see that person on the video?
Melly.
Back of his head.
Do you see the back of the head of the person wearing the jeans jacket?
Correct.
Was that person the same person that you previously identified in states?
This nigga gonna just keep using the back of
We
the head
previously
shit.
looked in state 72 at an individual you identified as Melly.
Objection, Your
Stay.
Honor.
One moment. Publishing state 72.
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
There's no question pending.
What's your question?
Skip a little bit
To
of
the
that.
best of your knowledge, yes or no?
Yes.
Identify for the record, and I know there's a video, but can you identify which vehicle you got into?
Red Mitsubishi.
And can you tell us who was in that car with you?
Kobe, Tay, and 80.
So AD, Tay, and Cody. Is that a yes?
Yes.
So that is a total of 4 people.
Correct.
And in the vehicle to the left of the screen, the Jeep, who entered that vehicle to your knowledge?
Everybody else that was there. Zach, Melly, Julie, Court.
Okay. And by my count, is that also 4 people,
Correct.
right? And when those, okay. Continuing to publish at 2:19:36. I'm going to stop at 2:19:46. At the time you left the studio in that red Mitsubishi, where were you headed?
Supposed to be home.
Okay, and who's home?
It's Melly house.
Okay, and was everybody in that red car headed to Melly's house?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, and what about the Jeep? Where was your understanding that that Jeep was headed? The gray Jeep.
Same spot.
So both cars left the studio with the intention of heading to what you identify as Melly's house.
Correct.
Can you tell us, I guess, what was the mood or the vibe at the studio while you guys were there?
Good question.
5 years ago. Can't tell you nothing right now.
Okay, if you don't recall, that's fine. Was there any physical confrontation that you observed?
I can't tell this guy is trying to snitch or he's trying to like cool snitch. Like, yeah, you're gonna get the info, but I ain't gonna really volunteer it because that's the, like, again, you're a state's witness. You could have hid. I don't know if he was. It don't seem like he was incarcerated. It looked like he walked in under his free volition, which means he wanted to be here. Okay, now maybe he's getting some type of benefit from testifying, but dog, are you here to give it up or you're not here to give it up? Because that's a very easy question. I think if somebody died on a night 5 years ago and it was a guy you knew from 10 years, right? You knew that nigga for 10 years, he died. You tell me you don't know the vibe that night? Like, I would
Nigga, this shit was 5. They finna piss me off, bro.
I'll be like, damn, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, something was always off.
Nigga, I don't remember shit from 5 minutes ago, bitch. Ask me about no shit from 5 years ago. What was the vibe that night? Niggas dying. Fuck is you talking about?
Like, yeah, so and so was quiet.
They
Oh,
fucking retarded.
yeah,
I hate
this nigga was
police.
arguing with this nigga. He took a phone call. He just walked outside. We ain't seen him until we got in the car. Like, nothing, nigga.
They're at the studio.
Academics slow too. He be pissing me off, bro.
It was like a regular day. Just studio, smoking, drink.
Niggas probably was off pills, liquor, all type of goofy shit.
And you just mentioned smoking. What were you smoking, specifically you?
Weed.
Okay.
Damn, what everybody else is smoking?
All right. And now the vehicles,
Correct.
we saw that the gray vehicle on the video pulled off first. Can you tell us where you guys, the route you guys took to the best of your knowledge?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Okay. Do you recall getting on a highway at all?
I recall being in the car while I was driving. I don't know where. I don't know. I don't.
Okay. Were you awake the entire time you were in that vehicle?
I wasn't.
Okay. Do you know at what point you fell asleep?
I don't.
All right. And when you left the studio, you were awake. Is that a fair statement?
I was.
And at what point do you recall waking up, or what time do you recall the next thing you saw?
Once we came to a stop
All right. And where did you come to a stop?
at the house gate.
The what?
And the house gate for Melly's house.
Yeah.
When you got to the house gate at Melly's house, who was inside your vehicle,
house gate.
the red Mitsubishi?
Same people you've seen get in the car.
All right. So by your testimony, Kobe, AD, Tay, and yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So still 4 people.
Still 4 people.
Do you recall how you guys entered the gate?
The gate was open for us.
And publishing states 47. I'm going to pause it at timestamp 3:49, it looks like 58.
Oh,
Do you
shit.
recognize that red Mitsubishi? Is that the vehicle that you left the studio in?
Yes.
Is this the dark gate you just testified to at Melly's house?
Yes.
Okay, and do you see that screenshot at timestamp 3:51:31?
What the fuck is they
Yes.
doing?
Yes.
Okay, do you see yourself inside that red Mitsubishi vehicle?
Yes.
And where are you located? Okay. And do you recall going through the gate, going through the procedure of going through the gate?
Yes.
How does you recall going through the gate, but you don't know the vibe of the studio? That's odd.
So you get through the gate, where do you go next?
To the house.
All right. And can you tell us, you pull into the house, is there a driveway in the house, in front of the house?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other cars parked in that driveway when you get to the house?
No.
All right. Do you see the gray Jeep that you left the studio with at the house?
No.
All right. So what do you do when you get out of the vehicle?
From what I remember, I went upstairs and went to sleep.
Okay? And you said upstairs. So the house is how many stories?
Couple.
Okay. So you went upstairs to where specifically to sleep?
In Julie's room?
Right? Was Juby in his room?
Nah.
Okay. Do you recall where Melly's room was in the house?
Not upstairs.
Okay. Do you recall where it was if it was not upstairs?
I think it was like first room as soon as you come in the house.
Okay. Was Melly at the house?
Nah, he telling. He giving too many details.
No.
Did you see Melly at any time in the house?
Nah.
Right? So you go upstairs in Juby's room, and what do?
Crash.
All right? Crash meaning,
Go to sleep.
okay. At some point, do you wake up?
Yeah.
And why? Or
Phone
how?
calls, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls.
Okay. Safe to say that your phone was getting a lot of phone calls, blowing up.
Yeah.
All right? And at some point, you answer the phone, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do in response to the phone calls?
I answered the one that kept ringing, and yeah,
All right? And so what do you do in response to getting that phone call?
I ended up at the hospital.
All right? Do you recall which hospital that was?
No, I don't.
Do you recall what city you were in at this point?
I was in Broward.
All right? What city? Not the county.
Miramar.
Okay. Do you know if you went to Miramar Hospital?
I don't know what hospital it was.
Okay. So you get to the hospital. What do you find out when you get to the hospital?
That Anthony and Christopher was deceased.
Okay. And obviously let me not say obviously, but at that point in time, what do you do? Or how do you react to that news?
Grieving.
Okay. Do you stay at the hospital?
Not long.
Right. Where do you go after the hospital?
And I ended up somebody's house.
All right. Do you recall whose house that was?
I don't know whose house it was, but I ended up there.
All right. Let's start with the city. Do you recall what city that house was in?
Miramar.
All right. Do you recall if it was in the same or different area than where Melly's
How
house
the
was?
fuck do they know this nigga
It was
was?
similar.
Okay. And just to clarify, was it the same or different house than Melly's house?
Different.
Okay. Where did you go when you went to that house?
What you mean?
Like, where in the house did you go? So you go to the house. Where do you go?
I went inside the house. I was in the back.
Okay. And would
Somebody made a great point. They say, yo, I don't know why old boy sounds so aggravated when he's the one who all of a sudden offered to testify after he caught a case. Like he seemed like he don't want to be there, but it's like, nigga, you don't gotta be there. They're not forcing you to be there. Whatever case you done caught, nigga, go do your time and fight that with your lawyer. But clearly you're trying to leverage you testifying to get some type of, relief in that case.
Yeah.
Does your memory get refreshed as to whose house you were at?
Still don't see nothing about no house in there.
Okay. I'm going to now show you what's in evidence. It's safe 62.
What fucking house he was in, nigga?
62.
Nigga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good.
Okay. Who are those individuals?
Melly and another dude, Fredo.
Okay. You said Melly and another
I
dude.
feel like a lawyer.
Fredo?
Yeah.
Do you know
I know you
Fredo's
was there, nigga.
name and or
any nicknames?
That's all I know about him.
Frito?
Frito.
Do you recall ever going to Frito's house?
Just that time.
And just that time being what time?
After I left the hospital.
Okay. So this. And for the record, what is Frito wearing in the photograph?
I'm wondering, by the way, I apologize. You know, I know somebody like, shut the fuck up. We just want to hear the thing. I'm wondering how much did prosecutors try to get Fredo Bang to come in, right? By the way, the driver isn't necessarily compelled to testify. They're going through a whole thing right now where the driver is basically saying, yo, I can testify because if I testify, it's going to be, I'm going to just use my, invoke my Fifth Amendment right, which is, you know, the right to not incriminate myself. He's also charged with accessory to murder. So he doesn't have to testify in this case, so they can't force him. Obviously, Melly's not going to take the stand. You know who they would really want to testify? The guy who allegedly picked up Melly. Fredo Bang. Fredo Bang could be like, hey, they would obviously ask him like, hey, did Melly have blood on him? What did Melly tell you happened? Obviously, it doesn't look like he's going to take a stand. He's nowhere to be found, actually. Well, nowhere to be found in court. I'm wondering what steps they went through trying to force him to, you know, testify.
Sure. Watch it.
Okay. So after the hospital, you went to Fredo's house.
This bitch said Frito.
Okay.
Fredo
And
Bang.
what were you doing at the house?
Still grieving.
Okay. Who took you to the hospital?
The cameraman,
Okay, do you recall his name?
Drew.
Right. And do you recall who took you from the hospital to Fredo's house?
Same person.
All right. And before you left for the hospital, or actually, who went to the hospital with you and Drew?
Just Drew.
Okay. Who was at the house, Melly's house, before you left for the hospital?
Same people that was there when we got there.
Okay. And same people being the 4 people that entered the Mitsubishi?
Yes.
Okay. So you're at Fredo's house. You mentioned, and I forgot exactly where you were in the house. Did you say where you were?
Drew was wrong.
Oh, no, not Melly's house. Fredo's house. Where were you in Fredo's house?
Outside.
Okay. And who was at Fredo's house when you first got there?
Everybody that was in the house.
Okay. And it's because I don't know who everybody was or is, can you please specify?
Kobe, Melly. I'm the only people I can remember.
Okay. Was that the first time you saw Melly after you guys left the studio?
Yeah.
Was Melly wearing the same clothes or different clothes than when you saw him at the studio?
It was a new day. Nah, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. You guys
He wasn't
specified.
wearing the same clothes.
Okay. Do you recall what he was wearing?
Just had on some shorts.
Okay. And how long did you stay at Fredo Bang's house?
I don't know.
Right. Minutes, hours, days?
Could be minutes, could be hours.
Okay. So not days.
Not even a day.
Okay. And so when you got to Fredo's house, was it light or dark outside?
It's like
And you previously said yourself and Melly and someone else was at Fredo's house. Was Fredo there as well?
I think I did see him. I don't remember.
Okay. What happens while you're there? Like you're there, you're outside, what happens?
Grieving.
Okay. And you're grieving, are you grieving alone?
Yes.
Are you at the house, at any point in time, do more people come to the house or do people leave the house?
If they did come, I don't know. I was in the back.
Okay.
I was back there grieving.
Hey, so I guess that's the compelling part of his statement, right? Yo, he's saying that Melly, who magically disappears when the car leaves, he's not in the car when the car shows up at the hospital with the guy's dead. Melly somehow gets to Fredo Bang's house, obviously through GPS and everything else. They realize Fredo Bang picks him up. So he sees Melly after the hospital fiasco, and Melly's just wearing shorts. He has different clothes on. Is that snitching?
Yes, this nigga is
Some people
snitching.
would probably say him taking a stand on snitches.
I'm just dead.
At any point in time, did Melly leave Fredo's house?
It came to the point when I was there by myself.
All right, so you were there by yourself. So the people that you previously said were there were no longer there, correct?
Right.
And so do you know where they went during that time?
I don't.
All right, and we're still talking about October 26th of 2018, correct?
Yes.
And this would be shortly after the hospital?
Yes.
All right. At some point, does Melly come back to Frito's house?
Around this time, I'm still grieving and it's getting a little, I don't know, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Melly comes back,
Yeah, I guess they did come back.
right?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay. And at
Yeah,
some point, does Melly
I'm
leave
finna play the
again?
game in a minute.
A second time.
I don't remember anything farther after that.
All right.
From me grieving. That was the last thing I remember was me grieving. I ain't been Gifford.
All right. So before you end up in Griffin, if I were to show you a statement, would that refresh your recollection as to Melly leaving and coming back a second time?
I suppose so.
Under permission to show him his statement again?
Yes, Councilman.
The shit he's saying is killing me. He said, I suppose so. Bro, just go on snitch, bruh. You already up there. You already in front of these people. Melly already see you. The news people is broadcasting this live on YouTube. Everybody in your neighborhood gonna know you was up there. Everybody that you buy weed from is gonna know you was up there. So you might well go and tell, man. You can't buy no weed no more. You might well move. That's why he try to keep this computer screen in front of his face. They made him put that whole down. And they had that nigga up there for a long time. For a long, long, long time.
Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Somewhat.
Okay, so tell us what you somewhat remember.
I just did.
If you recall, you said you weren't sure, you went to Gifford, and then I asked you if your statement would refresh your recollection. Does your statement refresh your recollection as to whether Melly left again?
I'm not sure if they left. I was grieving.
Okay.
I'm not sure what nobody did. I was grieving.
All right. You mentioned, well, not you mentioned, let's see. I pointed out to you someone was, the person that was wearing the jacket that you identified as Melly was carrying something across his side or his back on the video. Do you recall seeing that?
I guess.
Okay. Do you recall what that's referred to?
That's actually.
Okay. Can it also be commonly referred to?
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you familiar with the term man?
Objection.
Watch from sidewalk.
Do you know what was in that satchel?
I don't.
Okay. Do you recall seeing anyone else with a satchel that night at the studio?
It was 5 years ago. I don't recall.
Okay. Is there anything that can refresh your recollection as to whether or not anybody else was wearing a satchel?
I suppose so.
If I were to show you the video again, would that refresh your recollection?
I suppose so.
Publishing Suite 7. I'm going to start publishing state 7 at 2:19:01. And I'm going to pause at 2:19:13. Does the video refresh your recollection as to anyone else that was carrying a satchel?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, was carrying a satchel?
I see Chris for one.
And that's Christopher Thomas.
Yes.
Did you ever have any business relationship with a person referred to as Track?
No,
Okay. Do you know who Track is?
not really.
Not really, or
I don't know who he is at all.
do you know of him?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see Track on October 26, 2018 at any point?
No.
Do you recall giving a statement, specifically the statement that I've previously provided you with here today, to the detectives in this case? You have to answer out loud.
Yes.
That was a statement that you gave to Detective Moretti and another detective, I believe from Indian River. Is that correct?
Could be.
Do you recall in that statement giving a different response when asked?
Sustained.
Would showing you that statement refresh your recollection as to anything regarding your interactions with Track on October 26, 2018?
I don't know Track.
No. My question was, would showing you the statement refresh your recollection as to any time you saw Track on October 26 of 2018?
No.
Okay. One moment.
Well, what the fuck?
You don't recall
Say something.
leaving?
They left court, didn't they?
You don't recall leaving?
I don't recall leaving with anyone. I don't know when I left. I don't know how I left.
Okay. Just to clarify my question, so you mentioned you left. When you left for Gifford, was anyone else at Frito's house?
I don't know.
Do you recall Melly making any statements in your presence while you were at Frito's house?
I don't recall.
Would showing you your statement refresh your recollection as to anything Melly told you while you were there?
I don't recall being told anything. So no.
Okay. You mentioned when they left the first time, you recall them at least leaving one time. Did you recall if when they came back, there were any statements regarding where they went?
Sustained. That's
No,
sustained objection.
don't answer that. So you remember them leaving the house at least once, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, when they came back, do you recall any conversations that Melly had in your presence that first time, after the first time?
I don't recall.
Would showing you your statement refresh your recollection as to those statements?
No, it would.
All right. Did you have a Facebook page back in October 26th of 2018?
I believe so.
On our coaching council, what's been pre-marked is states quadruple I. Previously shown. Permission to write the witness?
You may.
Mr. Glass, do you recognize these two pages that I'm showing to you?
Yes, sir.
And is this a Facebook, these pages reflect a Facebook conversation?
They do.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of that conversation that you had on Facebook?
It is.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to introduce the been pre-marked to stage triple, quadruple I is the next numbered exhibit.
No objection.
I'm sorry?
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States quadruple I will be marked states 83.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Okay, so was that your kind of, was that a, how you identified yourself on Facebook?
Consort.
And who were you having this conversation with? Mr. Glass, can you see that document in front of you?
Yes.
All right. Where it says author, can you read that for the members of the jury?
You want me to read it?
If you can read that, what does it say next to author?
Why the fuck he say that like that? Nigga can't read, can he? She said, can you read that? Nigga said, you want me to read? That boy can't read.
What does it say before Fargo?
Okay, Fargo.
Okay, do you see where it says Fetty Fargo? Okay, and who's Fetty Fargo?
It was me.
Okay, so was that your kind of, was that a, how you identified yourself on Facebook?
Consort.
And who were you having this conversation with?
Right now, I look like I'm talking to myself. I
Okay.
look like I'm texting myself. I don't know who I sent it to.
Do you see where it says participants?
Okay. So, texting Melly.
Okay. And that was page 1. I'm gonna
I ain't believe shit. But what you tell me, nigga, just these crackers got everybody mind wondering, do you not know what the fuck they saying? Come on now. I ain't gonna never see my niggas again. Y'all niggas got stories fucked up. I don't know no more. Come tell me real nigga shit. Tighten up. Real talk. And with all this texting shit, nigga, pull up and tell me something. Fuck you mean my nigga mama hurt. She just wanna hear y'all's boys. Hope you come. If not, everybody. If not, everybody. I guess he meant I'm on everybody ass. Put that on everything, nigga.
and I'll publish page 2. I'll publish it in part, it's a little small.
Melly said how. And then you gotta talk up, bro. Real shit. All this shit falling on me. And he called him.
Can you see that in front of you?
Yes.
You started sharing the video.
Scroll up.
What the fuck? She rolling too fast.
Okay. So check some money.
Yeah, Melly talking, getting crazy. He going to jail. They locking his black ass up. Man, tell them, fuck that. If they think I did some shit, something. Go to war. Nigga, you know I would never do something. I showed them niggas more love than their own parents. The fuck? Call me, bruh.
What was the
Call me,
purpose
bruh.
of you having this conversation with Melly, Jamel Bennett?
I don't know. Just everything was questioned.
When you got to Gifford, were you looking for answers?
Not just me.
Okay. Were people kind of pressing you for answers?
Correct.
And did that have any impact in whether or not you reached out to Melly?
I don't know what you mean by that.
So, and again, you said that people were looking for answers. So did you reach out to Melly looking for answers?
I did.
Is that the gist of that conversation on Facebook?
Is that just a
The
conversation?
gist of the conversation, was that the purpose behind the conversation and the general conversation that you had with him?
Yes.
Random almost to confer. Do you know who Jamie King is?
I don't know who she is. I know of.
Okay, you know of Jamie King. Do you know how she's related to Jamel Demons?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Do you know her relationship?
Mom. Supposed to be his mom.
Okay. Do you know if Jamie King and Anthony Williams had any?
Objection leading.
I wouldn't know none of that.
Rephrase your question.
Do you know the relationship between Jamie King and Anthony Williams?
I don't.
If I were to show you a copy of your statement, would that refresh your recollection?
Nope.
And one moment to confirm. Nothing further at this time.
Counsel, thank you. Is there any cross-examination of this witness? Yes, sir.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Glass. Your Honor, would you mind if we move the monitor from in front of the witness's face?
I ain't finna cross-examine his ass.
I'm
That's why he was up there so long.
Would you mind, Your Honor?
I know he was ready to go.
Is there a specific issue that you have, Mr.
I do. I do.
Judge,
So,
Oh, he not trying to get seen in court.
I told you that's why he had that damn thing
Said,
up
I
there.
do. I do. You don't get seen on the stand.
Coach Sidebar?
sure. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you step out for a second? Don't discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone.
Move the monitor from in front of the witness's face.
I don't mind. I mind.
Would you mind, Your Honor?
I don't mind. Is there a specific issue that you have, Mr.
I do. I do.
Judge, can we-
So,
Oh, he not trying to get seen in court. He said, I do. I do. You don't get seen on the stand.
Coach Sidebar?
sure, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you step out for a second? Don't discuss the case, don't form any opinion about the case, don't allow anyone to discuss the case. Concerning no reason.
Let's see what's here. Let's mute it up.
On this side of my business, so
Council man, one with the defendant, and assistant state attorney. So, Mr. Glass, I don't understand, what's the issue?
on this side of my business, so whenever the scene, because I'm blind in my left eye, I'm trying not to.
So you don't see out of your left side,
Correct.
left eye?
Correct.
Kevin like a motherfucker. Talking about he can't
So
see.
my thought is, let's try this. Can we, Gary, can you do me a favor? Just move the monitor for a second?
Just move it out of the way.
Can you do that?
I can do that too. But if I, as far as this goes,
No, I don't
Attach.
I'm not asking you to detach anything. How much do you put it down?
that's just here.
All right. So, Mr. Glass, is that all right?
It's your courthouse.
Okay, so we can proceed like that. I think that works for everybody. So they show you pictures and things like that. You have to be able to see the monitor too. You understand, Mr. Glass? All right, we ready to proceed? Yes. All right, bring jury back in, see if they're ready.
All right. They took a recess. We're behind, so we'll just catch back
My
up.
brother called me and he was concerned, that's all.
Did you have a conversation?
Here we go.
Because I think the only individual who would not be allowed to speak would be myself and Ms. Smith. So I think that should be the extent of the inquiry.
Thank you. Mr. Glass? All right, you're looking at me now. All right, thank you. I wasn't here. I left the office, left the bench to come for a recess, came back in, and counsel suggested to me that you're on the phone and you read something and you're discussing something on the phone. Is that true?
Sure.
Yes, so did it have anything to do with this case?
Not at all.
So was it some other business or
So it's me texting. So,
you were texting? Were you texting about the case?
about it, you know,
What were you texting?
texting saying that this wild shit wild. That's all I said.
I didn't hear you.
I said things are wild. That's all I said.
Things
It's
are wild.
It's wild.
Anything else?
That's it.
What the hell?
And did you have a conversation with someone?
My brother called me and he was concerned, that's all.
Concern? Concern about what? Did he say?
He concerned about who I'm here with and how I got here.
Okay. And anything about the case, facts of the case, your testimony, anything like that? Thank you. All right, so are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Stay ready to proceed? All right, can we proceed? The jury's ready?
Yes, sir.
Man, them folks see you, don't you? Man, them folks see you already, bro.
You thought it looked like you were talking to yourself because you were the only one typing. There were no responses, at least on the first page, correct? There are no responses to this.
Wait, let me read some of these messages. So this is him sending messages to Melly.
Yeah,
He says,
nigga,
"I ain't believe
already
shit."
read it. That's on you.
Melly, and it says TF. What does that mean?
The fuck?
You tell me?
Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay. So you were having a conversation and you didn't understand the
I don't know what
response.
TF means.
Okay. You didn't understand that response. Correct?
Just said it.
Okay. And then there's another one that says, man, tell them fuck that. If they think I did some shit like that, we can go to war. Nigga, you know I would never do nothing like that. See that? Okay.
I'm fucked up how the lawyer just saying nigga and fuck that shit and all types of shit. Man. What the hell?
So,
He black, but still. It's just fucking me up for this type of language to be used in court.
State had mentioned that you got arrested recently and charged criminally. Correct?
Correct.
And on May 30th, not too long ago, of this year.
Yeah.
And one of the charges that was made against you was obstruction of the service of the execution of the search.
I can't deal with this
You
shit.
aware of that?
I am now.
Pardon me?
I am now.
So you got charged and you had no idea what you were charged with?
Correct.
Okay. And you are now out on pretrial release?
I'm bonded out, sir.
Okay. And while you are on bond, you are of the opinion that if you don't come here,
I'll be in jail.
Objection, Your Honor, apology.
That's the only reason I am.
Excuse me. What happens is when they make an objection, just wait before you answer. Objection, no, it's overruled. Proceed.
That's
you're of the impression that if you don't come here and sit in that chair and testify, you're going to go to jail.
correct.
Oh. There are several instances in which Ms. Smith, prosecutor, that questioned you, showed you a statement that she previously gave. Remember that?
Yes.
And you told us, you remember seeing me in a deposition not too long ago.
I said what?
You remember seeing me last week, on Friday.
Yeah, I remember.
This nigga came here to help Melly. He already answering this nigga questions
Recall
better.
the time that your statement to the detectives was a few days after the incident.
You say, do I recall?
That's what your recollection was at the time,
Yes.
a couple of days after.
A couple of days after.
And now after seeing the statement, you realize that it was 4 months later, right?
You say what?
The statement you gave to police. That
You
you're
telling me it was 4 months?
It was
Are you
4 months
asking
ago.
me?
Pardon me?
You telling me or asking me?
I'm asking.
It don't make sense for you to ask me if I told you it was 3 to 4 days after they died. Why are you asking me if it was 4 months? If I just told you.
Okay. So, in the statement that you gave,
Yo, this is like an aggressive snitch. Like, what's up with this guy, man? This guy like he's trying to like see like even this demeanor. What's up with this nigga, man? It's the hostile cooperating right here. What's going on, man?
This nigga a gangster snitch.
police back then, you claimed that you had gotten into the red vehicle in the rear seat, right?
It's 5 years ago. To the best of my knowledge, yeah, that's what I said.
You're saying the statement was a few days after, right?
What did you do?
The statement that you gave to the police was a few days after the incident,
Yes.
and you said then that you had gotten into the rear of the red vehicle.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And then you watched this trial unfold on TV over the last couple of weeks, right?
No.
You didn't watch any of this
I
trial.
watched it, but I didn't watch it unfold or whatever you're trying to say.
Okay. You watched this on TV,
They fucking me up.
this trial.
On my phone.
Okay. And you saw a video of yourself get into the red vehicle, right?
Correct.
And you
Bro, this is
learned that
Spider-Man.
the statement that you gave a few days after the incident was
To
wrong.
a web.
Because I said I was in the back
See,
and I was in the front.
Yes, exactly that.
That piece.
Yes, that piece.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so your recollection had begun to fail you only a few.
Yo, I can't tell if this nigga, like, whose side is he on? I thought he was on Melly's side low key a little bit because he was kind of like a little mouthy to the prosecutor. But nigga, he looked like he on devious timing now. Or maybe I wasn't seeing his face before. Now seeing his face, this nigga just look untrustworthy.
Few days after the incident,
Objection.
as regards that issue, at least.
Objection to counsel
Stay.
testifying.
You forgot where you sat in the vehicle a few days after.
Objection to counsel testifying.
You can answer
Answer what?
that question. Is that correct,
Did
sir?
I forget?
Did you
Or
forget?
did I have made a mistake and say I was in the back and remember that I was in the front?
So when you told the law enforcement officers that you had gotten into the back of the vehicle a few days after the incident,
That's what I thought, to the best of my knowledge.
that's what you thought. Okay. And when you got to Melly's house that morning, you had a key?
Did you have a key?
No, I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Who had a key?
this nigga is chirping.
You know of anybody having a key to Melly's house?
I don't know.
Okay. But you did gain entrance to that house that morning when you were leaving after you left the studio.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said you just went and crashed and went to sleep in Judy's room. Right?
Factual.
Okay. And you were awakened by your friend Drew.
I did not say that.
Were you awakened by your friend Drew?
I said I was waiting by phone calls.
Okay.
Objection to improper impeachment.
Sustained.
Objection to improper impeachment.
On February 26th of 2019, when you actually gave your statement to law enforcement, do you recall this question and this answer?
Objection to improper impeachment.
Sustained.
On that day, you told the police that Drew woke you up.
Objection to improper impeachment.
Sustained.
I don't recall.
Excuse me, I sustain the objection.
Okay. On your honor, may we approach?
Sure.
If you, this is like a meme right here. It's like a definitely. Hey, it feels like this guy, like, you know, obviously was really good friends with one of the guys who died. Maybe he's on some fuck Melly shit. You know what I mean? Like, seems like he's.
Do you recall now being asked this question and giving this answer?
Objection to improper impeachment.
Overruled.
Question by the detective then. And so when you first saw Drew, when did you see him? Where did you see him at? Your house or Fredo's house? Answer, at the house in Miramar. At Melly's house. Okay. He woke me up. It was like, come to the hospital. You said that.
I don't recall.
Don't recall. Okay. When we spoke to you last week, you said you were awakened by phone calls from Christopher Thomas's mom, right?
Plenty of phone calls.
And,
People.
pardon me?
Different people.
Different people. And the one that you answered was Ricky? So you were awakened by a phone call from Ricky?
To the best of my knowledge.
So as you recall it today, Ricky is the one that woke you up with phone calls, not Drew that woke you up in person.
Correct.
Okay. So you smoke a lot of marijuana.
Possibly.
They funny
You
as
smoke
hell.
anytime you get a chance, I think is how you phrase it.
It's your answer. Yeah.
That was your answer.
I smoke when I smoke.
You smoke when you smoke?
Yeah.
And when's that?
When I smoke.
And when was that?
When I smoke.
How many times?
Objection to asking answers.
What the fuck is happening right here, bro? They need to get this nigga out the
3
courtroom.
times, maybe.
Okay. And on the night before you got to the studio, on the day in question, you had smoked at least 2 joints, right?
That's your guess?
That's what you said, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when you got to the studio, you were smoking, correct?
Possibly.
Were you or weren't you?
It was 5 years ago.
You forget?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you were drinking Hennessy, I believe? Or do you not recall that either?
It's possible.
Possible. But you don't recall?
I don't.
Okay. So you don't recall much from that night, then, do you? Right? Fair?
Right.
Okay. And when you got in the red vehicle and left, you went to sleep in the vehicle when you left the studio. Right?
Yeah.
And you didn't wake up until you got to the guard gate.
I woke up when we came to a stop.
You did not wake up until you got to the guard gate. Am I right or wrong?
I woke up when we came to a stop.
Okay,
Which was at the guard gate, yes.
Okay. One moment. With respect to your daily, right? You've never seen Melly with a gun.
Objection, Your Honor.
Staying.
Move to strike.
Yo, somebody said ever since they moved the damn monitor, this nigga just don't give a fuck no more.
Here's disregard the last question.
Have you ever seen Melly with a gun?
Objection, Your
I
Honor.
sustain the objection.
Have you ever seen a track with a gun?
Possibly. Yes. Maybe. Maybe so.
You don't know of any friction between Melly and Anthony Davis at any time, Anthony Williams at any time?
Not that I know of.
And you don't know of any friction between Melly and Christopher Thomas at any time?
Not that I know of.
And you don't know of any friction that occurred at the studio that night that would cause anybody to get murdered?
Sustained.
You didn't see any friction at the studio that night of any magnitude?
I did.
You did?
I didn't.
Okay, you did. With respect to your daily marijuana regimen, did you smoke before you came here today?
I did not.
Okay. I have nothing. Thank you.
I should have.
I thought that nigga was bullshitting. His eye do look a little fucked up.
Yo, this nigga got dope.
Look at that motherfucker. It do look a little fucked up. I thought he was lying.
You live in Broward County back in October of 2018?
I did not live here.
Okay. When did you come in relation to this incident to Broward County?
I was picked up probably, I don't know, I was picked up on the weekend or something like that.
So how would you, I guess, date how long you were here prior to the incident? Time frame?
3 days, 2 days?
Okay. So you were not a full-time resident of Melly's residence?
I was not.
Okay. Nothing further.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. You are excused. It's 12 o'clock, so ladies and gentlemen, why don't we take our lunch and recess now? Looks like it's a little after 12.